So this is a question to all my Canadian friends out there. Do you guys think that the CBC is necessary? Do you think it is a beacon of truth, like the head of the CBC tends to think it is? I think it's a steaming pile of shit, to be completely honest. I haven't watched anything good come off of that fucking wretched broadcasting platform in fucking probably the better part of 2 decades at this point. If you can name me your favorite CBC program, I would definitely like to hear it. I can't think of any in the past, I don't know, since the fucking late 90s maybe, that were founded and were good for a while. They haven't been good for a very long time. Mostly looking at this hour's 22 minutes, where it's just basically become fucking Saturday Night Live North Edition. So let's see what the head of this money hemorrhaging operation has to say here. Oh, by the way, before we dig into this, advertising revenue between March 30th and September 30th, when they were pretty much wholeheartedly subsidized by the federal government, declined from $91 million, which I know to some Americans seems like merely a drop in the bucket for a television network. And it dropped to $73.8 million. This is my money. If you're Canadian, this is your money. And it's going to this just fucking public access level shit factory. CBC TV advertising revenue has plummeted 19% in 6 months that the network is considering programming cuts, according to Blacklock's reporter. Oh, I wouldn't even know what they would have to cut. I literally don't know. Advertising revenue between March 30th and September 30th, exactly what I exclaimed there earlier. According to the CBC, the drop was due to a general decline in advertising revenue occurred by television networks during the pandemic. That is a fancy way of saying nobody's watching our stuff, so nobody's really having to pay too much for a premium. Despite the drop in advertising revenue, the CBC still continues to source most of their revenue from the government, which spends $1.3 billion on the broadcaster annually, and also received a significant chunk of the $600 million of federal bailout money for the newspapers and Canadian broadcasting institutions. And by the way, all of them suck. Collective bags of dicks. We have implemented a financial contingency plan that includes reducing operating expenses. Just shut it down. Significantly postponing capital expenditures and managing programming expenses to offset expected revenue losses, wrote CBC CEO Catherine Tate. My mistake. In a financial statement, the duration of the severity of the pandemic, television stations most affected, right, may adversely impact the ability of the corporation to meet all its programming obligations. Like what? Tate's report continued. It is anticipated the effects of the COVID-19 will persist into fiscal year 21-22. Oh, really? Including continued economic pressures and programming disruptions. They won't mention that nobody has cared about their broadcaster forever except for the Liberal government. Tate defends CBC's funding before the Commons Heritage Committee in 2019, insisting the evidence that the CBC is Canada's most trusted news outlet. It's not. It's really not. It's not good. It's not objective. It's not nearly impartial. You'd think that up here in Canada, because we are about, a decade behind everywhere else in the world, you'd think that we'd still probably have some newsman that comes on at 6 o'clock who just has the clock behind him and he straight reads the news. Nobody's that good. It's all comes from the same AP headlines, and it's just the exact same fucking parroted talking points over and over and over again. It's all bad. Okay, a comparison would be to the UK, where they have the BBC, and at least the BBC puts on, shit people watch. I emphasize the shit part because they've let woke ideology just totally take over their entire operation, but they do put out sports that people do watch. English football. It's broken down. It's a fucking huge broadcasting operation. And in Canada, Sportsnet owns Hockey Night in Canada. Literally, there's nothing good that comes out of the CBC. There's literally nothing. We're just subsidizing worthlessness. But here's what Gooch had to say. At a time when disinformation is undermining trust in our institutions and democracy, this is definitely not disinformation, by the way. We remain Canada's most trusted source of news and information, she argued. vociferously and ineffectually. She wasn't good at it. Tate's compared CBC's role in news broadcasting to similar public broadcasters. Yeah. PBS. Plays in other countries, stating, "Well, I meet with other public broadcasters in Paris or London or by the telephone. In Australia, we are facing the same challenges, which is how to protect and defend our citizenry from unbelievable tsunami of disinformation. Because we need to provide our own disinformation. Remember, Justin Trudeau is a fantastic leader who does absolutely nothing wrong, and boy, isn't his hair great, and his beard definitely looks manly and not like a little sissy bitch grabbing a whole bunch of hair clippings from the barbershop floor and plastering them on his face with whatever gentleman caller came over and serviced his wife the night before. It's definitely not that at all whatsoever. Please do not question, dear leader." But here's somebody who's actually on the level. "CBC produced programming Canadians taxpayers are not watching and don't want," says the senator. Another caveat, if you're unfamiliar with how Canadian government operates. Senators are not elected. They're appointed by the Prime Minister to lifetime appointments. Canada's really fucking stupid at a bunch of things. CBC receives most of their revenue from federal government. Yep, exactly. And I will never get tired of saying that they receive $1.3 billion of taxpayer money. Because why? They love the Liberal government. Let's make sure you guys definitely know that. Because, oh, God forbid I put out any disinformation. I just want you guys all to have all the information that's out there for everyone to know. Senator Leo Housakos, sure, called CBC TV a make-work project. You'll love to see it. As the Crown Corporation's second quarter financial report showed that it would face cuts to ad revenues continued to plummet, according to Blacklock's reporter. There it is again. Advertising revenue between March 30th and September 30th, fell 18%, if I can be so bold. The CBC is producing programming Canadian taxpayers are not watching and don't want, and yet at the same time the Trudeau government is siphoning out of their pockets of taxpayers billions of dollars and showering it onto that corporation, said Housakos at the chamber yesterday. The role of the government is to fill voids and not take taxpayers' money and put it into make-work projects that clearly, when you look at the ratings and the ad revenue, the very bad ratings collapse. Oh, that would imply that they were ever high. They were never high. Canadian taxpayers and the Canadian public don't take to. Housakos continued. CBC receives most of their revenue. Yes, $1.3 billion from the government. Of course, you see. Senator Housakos asked if it's time for the parliamentary inquiry into the review of the CBC operations. I agree wholeheartedly. Get rid of that worthless fucking broadcaster. They don't even syndicate anything that's worth a damn anymore. To which government representative and Senator Mark Gold replied, "I'll certainly take your suggestion and raise it with the government," which is code for records of the Department of Heritage show that the network has lost $175 million annually since losing exclusive rights to their flagship sports broadcasts. There you go, it's in writing. Hockey Night in Canada losses likely surpassed $2.1 million since losing the license in 2013. Like I said, to you guys, it might not seem like a whole bunch of money, but when they come directly from my pockets and everybody else out there who aren't watching television anymore and definitely never really watched CBC to begin with, the only thing that they do with Hockey Night in Canada is just rebroadcast it. Like I said, Rogers Sportsnet owns Hockey Night in Canada. They just keep it on CBC because it's the fucking institution and habit at this point. I don't know if you guys have a different opinion on the CBC. I'd love to hear it because I haven't really thought about the CBC in a very long time. All I know is that it's a drain on the tax base and it offers nothing. So yeah, when I see that this senator decides that we should probably look at it in the finances here because this thing is hemorrhaging money like a motherfucker, I just need to let more people know because I think it's a great thing that at least one senator's doing, because normally the fucking House of Lords here does dick all. So when they actually do something, it makes news. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.